All right, my friends, welcome back to another V-Rising video. So 1.1 has been out for about a month or so now, and if you've been playing PvP, chances are you're on probably a second, third, maybe even a fourth, fifth, who knows how many wipes you've been playing by now. And with that in mind, I've been getting a lot of questions regarding PvP castle defense recently, people asking how they should set their castles up. And so I figured I would just quickly go over some basic raid theory, how you can set it up and approach it in 1.1. There's a bunch of different ways to do it. There's not one size that fits all. And really quickly, let's go over this. So this is one of the most common defenses that I see from new players. And they set this up thinking that they're okay. You can go inside here. Look, you got some honeycomb in here. You got an airlock right here. If you played PvP survival games, this probably is looking pretty good for you. And if you're me or other experienced V-Rising players, this is what you think. The second you see this, this is what you think. It is raiding time. That's what I think when I see this. This is the most indefensible thing that you could possibly do, other than leaving your castle heart just essentially completely open. This is very, very easy for me to raid. And the reason why, very briefly, let's go over castle raiding mechanics. So you have castle under attack. If a golem were to hit this door or hit a wall, or in the 1.1, as of the 1.1 patch, if they hit a staircase, there's other ways, like if a vampire or something hits like a production thing, that also puts it under attack. But regardless, if a golem hits a wall or a door like that, or a staircase, they'll put the castle under attack. The castle under attack prevents the castle from being repaired or modified, and prevents you, I believe it's still this way. I'm not really sure actually if it's server dependent, but this is how it should be. If the castle's under attack, a two-way teleporter, the colored teleporters, like this, oops, these will not be possible to be used when your castle is under attack. So with that in mind, how do we set up a castle to make it so our castle's not under attack? So, sorry, other than being under attack, if this wall takes enough damage, eventually, this is the scary one, is when your castle is in breach. The basic time for this lasts for 7 minutes. And breach makes it so vampires can damage walls and doors. And golems do like massively increased damage to walls and doors. A single like left click smack will do like 150 damage. A stomp will do like 600 damage. Those are like 3 and 4 times more damage than the normal version of those. So you can understand why that would be such a big deal. The only thing scarier than being breached is being keyed. And so it's for that reason that we are trying to avoid that at all costs. So let's go ahead and check out a few setups for castle defenses, starting with this one over at Silverlight. This right here has been one of my favorite plots for the 1.1 update at the moment. I'm actually really enjoying this plot recently. I played on it once by myself. I played on it once with somebody else. And honestly, this spot just feels super, super nice right now. I'm going to explain really quickly, because we have a lot to cover, what is going on here and why I have it set up this way. I mentioned that staircases being attacked by golems will put the castle under attack, and as annoying as it is, me personally, I think it's actually still okay to use some staircases depending on the plot and how you can make them work, to either block off areas entirely from being attacked and funnel the golem and the attackers into a very specific area, as well as keeping golems away from certain things. You can see right here, this plot, this is one of the most frustrating things about figuring out how to set up a castle defense, is some plots you put staircases in certain spots. This happens. If you notice, I can't run past this. If I can't run past this, a golem can't run past this. And over here, same thing goes over here. I can't run past this, even though it's like looks fairly open. I cannot run past this. I can frog from over there. I could technically frog from up here if I wanted to. It's no big deal though. There's nowhere for me to go if I do. Right? Doesn't really matter. So the idea behind this is I'm funneling the attackers into where I want them to be. Now let's look at my defensive setup here. We have banshees right here. Generally in defenses, a lot of people use banshees. Some people don't. A lot of people do. You have servants right here. This is the most important part of your defense. You have a Stygian summoning circle right here. Two options for this would either be a blood golem, which does solid damage. It scales depending on how many people are around. Solid damage and stuns, but is technically not as threatening as a primal blood soul. But it also doesn't drop healing orbs and can't be sucked to get like full health. Primal Blood Soul scales with how many people are fighting it, which means if there's like a squad, it can technically scale up to 8 people. However, it also does drop blood orbs eventually. Some bosses drop them early, some drop whenever you kill it. And also on top of that, if you kill it, then it will drop. You can suck the boss in order to heal yourself. Even while you're still in vampire combat, you can heal yourself all the way back up to full HP. So you have to kind of decide between Blood Golem, which isn't technically as scary, versus Primal Blood Soul, which is scary but has some pretty massive downsides. And so the way we have this here, I personally like to double layer. I like to have airlocks or honeycomb for attackers here, because you don't necessarily want to release your defenses just like immediately right off the bat. You want to, a lot of times you want to make it so if you maybe they've killed one of your teammates or they're about to breach or something, you want to be able to have like the uh-oh button where you just open the thing and let the servants out or let the banshees out. If you just need, if everything's going to crap and you just need like that Hail Mary, you can open the banshees and just all chaos breaks loose, right? All hell breaks loose whenever the banshees are released. So like, but for that reason, I don't really like to have it so like I just walk up here and open a thing and banshees come out. That's pretty bad. So I have here, there's basically, this setup's a lot better for a duo playing. You could do this with a squad as well. If you're going to do a full squad, I would recommend changing this to be 2 sets of honeycomb like this. I would also probably get rid of this and make this honeycomb as well. The reason being so that everyone has their own individual door to fall back to, but it's kind of up to you how you want to do it. The problem is some people are going to be full health. They want to be attacking outside of their honeycomb, right? I want to be attacking. I'm full health. And if my teammate comes and closes the door, I'm like, what? You know, because he has to heal. So yeah, that's why I would suggest if you're a squad, do it that way. But a duo, this is a really good duo setup in my opinion. It's just actually super, super strong here. Like I said, so one person be playing this side, one person could be playing this side, and whenever each of them need to, you can decide like, hey, let's release the summoning circle first, and then let's release the servants, and then all hell breaks loose. Let's release the banshees, right? Okay, and then I'm going to showcase on the side here. What's interesting about this is, like I said, they can technically frog from back here, but there's nowhere for them to go. However, you can be here if you wanted to as a player. It doesn't really matter for that. And then we have this catwalk up here. Let's go ahead and look at the catwalk. So these 2 staircases are connected. I connected these staircases like this so you can really quickly reposition when needed from one side to the other. If you really just have to get from that side over here or vice versa, you can just very quickly run over like this. Also subverting something like Arctic Leap. You can have somebody rat formed up here where they're not, not seen. Whenever the enemies commit right here, they're fully on trying to breach. You can just do this and look at the range. I mean, we're covering just every single spot that can even be attacked is being covered. Something to note on the side here, technically a golem can use a ranged attack to hit this wall, as well as this, as well as this wall as well. They can't technically hit this, but that takes a really long time for them to breach off of that. And if they're doing that, you can just peek out really quickly, right? Spam them down, come back in, spam them down again, right? Come back in, and then keep doing that over and over again. And so that is not what they're going to want to do. They're going to want to confront you directly. So which is why I think this setup is just super powerful here. Same thing on this side. Something you can note, somebody can technically put a golem here. And this is, if you're in a defender, it's really hard. It's actually pretty hard to reach this area other than this door frame. But never fear. This is where the power of bombs come into play. Go ahead and do this, right? So this is where bombs are really just absolutely crazy powerful right now. So let's say they put that there, no big deal. You can go like this, open the door, close this, and look at that. The golem is almost dead already. I mean, that's literally just this, and then just spamming a little bit. Whoops, spamming a little bit. And that golem is dead, right? So no big deal there. You just have to have somebody playing on this side. That's why we have this catwalk to get somebody over there very quickly. Last note here, or one of the last notes, stairs. This staircase. So whether or not you want the stair is up to you. Something to note with this is if you don't have a staircase here, the person up here can actually spam this staircase while they're coming up. Whoops, let me swap back up to my pistols here. Right, they can spam the staircase while somebody's coming up. But keep in mind, when that's happening, technically they could be up here and spamming you as well. So that may, you have to keep that in mind, although you do have a spot to fall back to, so it's not as big a deal. On top of that, if I'm up here and there's no staircase and they're right here, I can actually just come here and I can spam right there. Let's say they're trying to get over there. I could spam right here, right? Oops, right there. I could do that. But like I said, they can also range attack you up there. And the golem, if he wants to range, he can also technically be standing down here and safely ranging this wall if he wanted to. Okay. On the flip side, with the staircase, while yes, I can no longer spam this staircase from up here, you can still technically spam down there if you want to. This can still technically spam right here, the top of the stairs, right? You can still do that, well, but they can't do that to you. They have to be down here to spam you, or up here to spam you. But however, keep in mind, it's not super easy for me to reach all this. But also, the golem can no longer safely stand here. Hitting it, he has to be up to about here, or actually even right here, right? And then that means while he's up at the top of the staircase, the other defenders can be very easily spamming right here. Okay, and then last but not least on this plot, let me just showcase this. I haven't put this in here. Here we have, oh yeah, teleporter here. So something that's important to know. I mentioned that two-way teleporters can't be used when the castle's under attack. It's important to have these on the ground level though, because you can still, waygates, you could still use waygates even when the castle is under attack. So like if I needed to quickly, let's say I had like an upstairs, whatever, and I just needed to quickly, let's say I was up here, whatever, or I'm in my production floor and I need to get downstairs really quickly, I can have a waygate upstairs and I can teleport with that waygate down to here, and right away I can kind of like get to where I need to go. I have this little spot here. I can jump into my honeycomb if I need to. I can run along the catwalk there if I need to. Whatever you need to do, you can do it from that with that waygate. So it's kind of like a way to get around that two-way teleporter thing. Next thing, if you build this correctly, if you off-center it a little bit to the left or whatever direction, you can have some storage in here too for some more potions. Another important thing is, I see this is a really common mistake I see. These outside walls, make them door frames instead of, make them doors instead of walls. If they're doors, you can do this. I can super easily use this as like a pass-through from one side to the other, as like a pseudo honeycomb, which is extremely helpful. You can also bat form from right here. So if I need to get to the other side, I could safely come over here, bat form out, and then just immediately drop over on this side if I wanted to. Whereas with regular walls, that's obviously not an option. And finally on this plot here, really quickly, normally we'd have this whole thing be, oops, okay, I can't get out right there. That's funny. Normally we have this whole thing be honeycombed out. I just didn't feel like setting it up. You can also use vermin nests if you want to, like put them right here if you want to or something, but it's kind of up to you. There's some advantage to mutated rats. They can do a lot of damage, but also they can also be like heart striked and deleted instantly. So it just kind of depends on what you want to do. Now, something to note. Once they've breached, it's very difficult. There's something to be said about, I've heard a lot of people ask, like, do I have to have some crazy amount of honeycomb from here just all the way through the base? And the answer to that is, it is technically the most defensible. However, there is also something to be said that if you can't hold the enemy off from breaching you at the front, at a choke point that you've set up to give you the biggest advantage, with all of your defenses intact, right? Like I still have servants and I got my summoning circle, I got banshees, I got all this stuff ready to go. If you can't hold them off with this, then chances are it is almost 100% guaranteed you will not be able to hold them off with just honeycomb up to your heart. So if you don't want to honeycomb, you technically don't have to. If your skill is equal and raid siege window is long enough, technically they can slowly chip away at your defenses. Like slowly they can clear all this and they come back in breach. Slowly they can clear servants and then come back in and re-breach, and slowly they can, and then eventually they can start pushing through. And then maybe if it takes long enough, right, you can break those golems enough and they run out of mats. So that, like, if you have honeycomb, there is something to be said about that. However, it's kind of just up to you. One thing that I would recommend looking at if you have a 2-tier plot is looking at how to set up things. Let me just get rid of this. I'll get rid of this as well. Sorry, so I can see this a lot easier. Setting up something like this is actually fairly powerful. So what we have here, we have stairs right here. These staircases can't be breached. I can get rid of these walls if I wanted to, whatever. These staircases can't be breached. What it's doing is creating a funneled choke point. So like if they're trying to come up to my second tier, to come to my heart, then imagine 4 of us, if I'm on a squad, 4 of us are just sitting here spamming every single thing we possibly can. Just imagine 4 Reaper E's, 4 crossbow Q's, 8 voids, you know, however many, just so many things, just spamming down this thing. That golem trying to push its way up here is going to have an extremely bad time. Next thing to note, this foundation, if I get rid of these door frames, this foundation right here with no door frames, this cannot be attacked, and this can't put your castle in breach by a golem. So there is actually technically something you can do where you put like these foundations here and use them as like a way to back off to, so you can like spam, right? And you just quickly go around the corner like this, then go like this if you wanted to. I mean, obviously I would just do this if I'm being honest. Just do this. But yeah. And then last but not least, how to secure your heart. Pretty much the best possible way to do it is wrapping it in an L-shaped staircase. And then you put the 2 doors like this and doors like that on the back side. And so what that does is it's kind of like the last line of defense. You're kind of honeycombing your heart where they have to go around. So let's say this whole thing had honeycomb in it. They have to go around through all of the honeycomb and push through just to get to that heart. Okay, now that we have the basics of all this shown here, like I mentioned, this is really good as a duo setup. You could make it work as a squad if you wanted to as well, but this is super solid as a duo setup. Let's go ahead and look at something that's a little bit better for a squad setup. As an example, I'm on a different plot. So this plot here, I love this plot. There's a ton of ways to set this plot up. There's actually crazy amounts of ways to set the plot up. This is my favorite plot in general in the game right now. Just overall, I love this plot a ton, location-wise, etc. So the reason I set it up this way, one thing to note, you can do this if you want to, but this side over here, when you first come up the ramp, there's not really a lot of room for defenses. You can do a 4x4, or sorry, a 2x2 for servants over here if you wanted to, but there's just no fallback honeycomb. Just keep that in mind. You could also set something up over, you could put servants over here and just leave this completely blank if you wanted to. Like that is technically something you could do, put like servants here and like, and then maybe put banshees up here or something if you wanted to. But I was setting it up and I was like, you know, it doesn't really feel right. Like as a squad, you generally want everyone in the squad to have somewhere that they can play, that they can fight, right? And so it's not, you're not like all stacked on top of each other, because if you're stacked on top of each other, all it takes is like a single errant merc charge where one of your guys doesn't get the pistol, doesn't land the pistol E to dodge, or maybe like has bad ping, and somebody just merc charges and they just hit all of you and you all just explode, right? So you don't want to be stacked up super on top of each other a lot of the time. And so I made this base like this. So here you can see we have multiple areas to play. 1, 2, 3. And technically there's also this right here, which is 4. You can spam right here. You can shoot that there. I can throw this here, right? I can throw this over here. You can see it's reaching right there. So I could spam over here to my heart's content. That's really nice. Somebody's playing right here. They can do the same thing. Fight, fight, fight. And they can come back in. Fight, fight, fight. Come back in. And then also to note, I mentioned about the foundation. You can also do this if you want to. Make it so that they can't, if they don't want to spam down here, you can make it so that the golem has to come all the way up around here. It's kind of like a pseudo staircase. That makes sense. Like what the golem can't do this. He has to come all the way up. And the idea with this, if you want to do this anyway, is you are making it so the golem and the people attacking you are as like they're essentially in the worst position that they can be to fight you. They are close to you. You can spam them, and they can't get their full battle potential while you're just destroying them, right? Now, one thing to keep in mind with this. Oh, sorry. And then let's like I said, there's a bunch of different spots to play. There's 3 different areas to play here. 1, 2, 3. Like I said, I have it double layered for the honeycomb. We have servants here. We have banshees here. And I'm going to showcase on the inside here. We also have this guy over here. He has the Stygian summoning circle. We have a golem here. So like I said, you can do this if you want the golem to attack. He's just going to stay here asleep. If I want to attack, I just poke him. He wakes up. I go wolf. And then I just run out like this. He comes out. And here's the golem. He's fighting over here, right? So he will not de-aggro. You can see how far. Let's go as far as I can until he de-aggros. I mean, he's going this far, right? You can see how far he is here. There we go. Now he de-aggroed all the way to the bottom of the staircase. He de-aggroed and he went back and he reset. Oh, we're going to close the door there. Spooky golem. There we go. So that's how you would play this. For me, this is how I would play this. On top of this, let me show you some teleporter stuff. So we have teleporters. I set the whole castle up. I'll actually go through the whole castle. This is kind of like an example castle to show like the full defensive setup. The other one I didn't have it fully set up. This one is pretty much fully set up. So I have this honeycombed here. Here's my teleporter room right here. I don't have the storages. There should be storages in here. Here is the vermin nest room. You could put nibbles, like a single nibbles in here if you want to. One thing you can do with that is that whenever you get to end game, you're so strong, you can kind of come in here and just go like detonate, hit a bunch of nibbles, and it drops like, I don't even know, 12 healing orbs. You grab all the healing orbs, then you close this door, and then they reset. Then you wait for them to reset, and whenever you need to, you can bomb them all again, get healing orbs, right? And just keep doing that if you want to. That is technically an option. And if you really need the health, if you're just dying for health right now, you can like kill them and then suck one and get health back that way. And then you'll see the honeycomb here. Let me just show you on this side here. So I have it set up in a way that this guy over here, the guy who's playing Golem, like I said, he's asleep while I'm doing my thing, right? While I run past him. This guy here, if he needs to reposition, he can go through here. Look, there's banshees over there. This is why this right here is so important, like I mentioned. You can use it as a quick pass through here. You can go this way. And he's just completely avoided all of those defenses. There's a serpent door. You go this way. Here's the heart right here. And here we go. Here's some more honeycomb. In theory, I could also, if I wanted to, I could set this staircase up to be wrapping this way instead. Right? So right here, 1, 2, and then wrapping to the right like this. And that would force the enemy to either break down a ton of walls to go this way, or go through this. But I think this is a better setup like this. Now, there is another thing to be said about how you can approach your... Okay, so, yeah, sorry. It's okay. I'm going to ignore that. That's just a little too advanced. Okay, it's over the top. So right here, we have the staircase going upstairs. This would technically, ideally, all be honeycombed with doors. We have 2 landing pads right here. That one's to the upstairs. Here's to the middle floor here. This little sky bridge maze walkway bullcrap, I hate these things, but technically what this does is it buys you tons of time. Like, even if you're keyed, you get keyed, it's like generally like a 5, I believe. It's like 5 minutes normally. Sometimes some people put it like 10 minutes. Some people do 8 minutes, 7 minutes, whatever. But yeah, so technically what you're doing is you're making it so they have to run all the way. If you're keyed, I mean, it's cooked, right? It's the end of the game. It's the end of the raid. But still, they have to run. If they don't key you, because they, for whatever reason, they're like noobs and didn't bring a key, they have to run as a golem. They have to break through all of these doors. I mean, look how far we're running, right? We are running all the way around, and then they come up like this. We still have a little bit more to break through here. And finally, we're to our production floor, right? So, and this is where those efficient base designs come into play. You can see I have a 2x3, 2x3. This is a little bigger for this forge room. We had plenty of room, honestly. There's a pretty big one here. This would be for, if you're really into raiding, you would want a ton of gym cutting tables. I could even get more in here if I wanted to. Over here, I have a big old prison. I just have the entire thing tailoring floor. Do you have some tailoring floor? Treasury floors right here. Here's this right here. And then if I wanted to, I could actually put use this right here. You can jump down if you want to. So yeah, here's something to note. One thing that's good about this plot, you can jump off the backside as a defender, and then you can immediately bat form and come back wherever you need to go. You can come back right here if you want to. You can go like this and jump down right here. So let's say I'm up here and I'm like fighting up here. I'm fighting somebody, whatever. And then I take a bunch of damage. I'm like trying to fight the other vampires. I take a bunch of damage. I can go like this. And if they, they obviously can chase me, but if they chase me, then they're just gone, right? Like they're not in the fight anymore. I jump down, I'm out of the fight. They jump down, they're not out of the fight, right? They could chase me if I'm super low. Well, then I just run away and they're just like they're out of the raid as well. And they need somebody within a golem, which means now it's 3 versus 2 plus a golem instead of, 4 versus 4, whatever. Anyway, yeah, we're getting into a little bit too into theory there. Sorry. Okay, now let's go over the teleporters. One last thing here. Teleporter goes up to the production floor. This one right here goes down here. If the castle's under attack, obviously you can't use these, but if it's not under attack, I'm going to show you this really quickly. This one here just goes, because this production floor is super long, we have this go all the way across. And last, we have this blue teleporter in the middle of the sky bridge. And the reason for this is I mentioned earlier, like on the other plot, you can be rat formed up here. Have somebody just sit, you can bat form and like run over to here. That's why this landing pad is so useful, wherever that is over there. And you can just be sitting here and check this out right here. And we are covering essentially this entire spot in a Arctic leap. You can imagine if they're trying to push with you, or maybe you're right here fighting, you can just jump out here with an Arctic leap and instantly freeze like their whole team. So pretty cool stuff. Okay, next one, we're going to go to a very, I'm not going to go super in depth in this one. This video is already getting long. I'm going to showcase, this one is one that I've seen used quite a lot. This base plot is one of, if not the most defensible base plots in the entire game. It's also just a pure nightmare to raid overall. This is how I've seen it set up quite a lot. You put a staircase right here so they can't attack you. And if you're a squad, this one's like ideal for squad play. It's kind of insane how good this spot is for squad play. Like, it's just unbelievable. The idea here is somebody's playing this honeycomb here, right? Somebody's playing this honeycomb here. They're in charge of the servants, right? Somebody's playing over here. And this one, here's some banshees over here. And somebody's playing this honeycomb right here. They can spam down, or they can spam like this. Once you actually manage to get up the stairs, they're attacking like this. And if they wrap trying to get you, you just pop into your honeycomb really quickly, pop back out. I mean, this is basically just the worst case scenario. This is the worst nightmare for raiders, okay? Completely worst nightmare for raiders. This is brutal. And then I'm going to show you just like another reason why this base spot's so good. Obviously, you have the banshees here. So let's say they decide, let's say they do breach. You could put like honeycomb here, doesn't really matter. I mentioned making a choke point. Here's a pretty cool choke point you can do right here. On this side here. So these staircases are set up in a really cool way. One thing you'll notice, let me go back to here to showcase how to do this, sorry. These staircases are actually, you can't place these normally. There's a trick to this. So I'm gonna showcase how to do that over on this plot. So one way to make this spot even crazier would be to make this a funnel, right? Like, it would be nice to have this like a funnel, I guess is what you could say. But you can see here, I can't a choke, a funnel, whatever I want to say. I can't place these staircases, right? I could technically place them like this, but this isn't good because it lets the attacker get on top and then jump down and use that. This is much better. And so, but the thing is, we can't place these here. Well, there's a little trick to this. It works on a lot of plots, many plots. If you can't make it work on some plots, just try it. Try this method here and see if this works to put staircases down. So look, I couldn't do it here because it has to be attached to ground. Well, here we go. Now attached it to the ground. But look, now this is bad because now they could just walk up here, right? They can come here and hit my door. I don't want that. Well, guess what? I can just delete this. Now that they're placed, I can delete these. This doesn't always work like this, but a lot of them does. So this is kind of, I don't know, bug. This is insane right here. I don't know. This is super crazy. So now this plot here is just horrifying. So obviously this guy here can't spam the same way. He can spam down there. He can technically still spam on the staircase, right? But now this, I mean, the golem has to walk up this way. That is just a nightmare. There's no dodging. There's no, I mean, you can imagine how much spam is coming down right here, right? Just through this spot here. They can't go left or right. They have to go backwards. You can just spam them. And the idea is you just kite spam them, right? You're going like this. While they're walking up with 4 people, that golem is just going to melt. That's kind of the thing that we did over here. I did the same thing. I had to position these or place these. The way I could place these staircases, I had to do the same thing with the foundations, the way I showed you. So we have these little thing here. And the other thing that's cool about this is if an enemy accidentally jumps down here, they are stuck inside here. And they have to wolf form out. And if you just spam them, they technically can't, oops, they technically can't wolf form out, right? You can just completely just spam them out. They won't be able to transform to wolf and they'll just explode in there. So that's kind of cool. All right, and the reason why this base plot is so nuts is because the top up here, so after they've gone through all your defenses, even while this is where honeycomb really is important in my opinion. I would definitely advise using it on this plot here specifically, because if you look on the map, this is an angle. What that means is there's no direct line to get to your castle heart. So it's not just a straight shot. You have to go through twice the amount of honeycomb to get to the heart than just a straight shot like this. So instead of like what looks like this should be like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 or so, it ends up being double that. It ends up being 15 tiles of honeycomb that you have to break from this spot here, going sideways. It doesn't matter how you approach it. It's at minimum 15 tiles of honeycomb to get to the heart here. Then on top of that, this staircase that you wrapped here, you don't actually even technically have to make that the staircase that leads to your production floor, because of the way that this base plot is. You can actually do this and start your sky bridge or your maze on this floor and wrap all the way around. Starting on the first floor, and then you can do your stairs, and then you have another floor of this, okay? You have another floor of sky bridge. And guess what? Because we're only one floor up from the second tier, we have another floor. So look how massive this base plot is. I mean, you can imagine the nightmare scenario of a double-decker maze like that, wrapping through everything around this thing like twice with just stupid amounts of honeycomb. And then on top of that is the way, if you're afraid you're going to get keyed. I mentioned getting keyed. If you're afraid you're going to get keyed, all you have to do is, so you have your teleporter wherever it is, and the ones up to your production floor, just delete the downstairs one. So if they key you, normally they can take your teleporters. Well, now they can't take any teleporters. Now they run up this way. You could even make this a fake. I even see people do this, where they do like a fake sky bridge like this, right? They go like this, and then they just like end it. And you're like, wait, what? And then you have to come back this way, all the way like this. Now we're getting into like giga nerd stupidity tier, but this is what people do. I've seen people do it. So, but yeah, so if you get rid of the teleporter, now they have to run through, you know, your entire maze there on that floor, then this entire maze on this floor, and then they can finally battle up here. And because this base plot's so big, you can technically make another maze on this top floor up here if you wanted to, right? You can make another one before you get to your production stuff. So anyway, okay, and last but not least, this video is insanely long already, 30 minutes. Last but not least, I mentioned in the efficient base design video how I was trying to come up with a design for this, for a minimalist base plot. If you're on a plot that sucks balls and you just cannot figure out how to defend it. So for instance, a plot like this. I mean, look at this plot. It's so bad. They can attack you from this side, this side, this side, this side, this side, this side. So where are you putting your defenses? The only option, if you honeycomb everything, the only option would be around your heart. Well, the problem is you don't want them to breach you, right? Like that's a nightmare if they breach you. So what do? Well, here is what I kind of came up with. Again, this is not, I would not recommend doing this for fun or for like a serious thing unless you know what you're doing, you understand what's the design that's going on here, and you're experienced, or you have no other option. This is what I would do. So I have wrapped my heart in an L-shaped stair right here, and we have put this staircase in a way. We have a staircase over here. I'm going to showcase. I'm going to explain something that I mentioned earlier really quickly. But so right here we have honeycomb here. The idea here is, well, yes, they can attack you from all sides. There really is only 1, 2, 3 walls they can even attack, which means they can only attack on this side or over on this side. And I went back and forth on whether or not I wanted staircases like this right here. If I wanted staircases to kind of block that off and like force them into this little spot here. And I ultimately decided that I don't know, it's up to you. You figure it out. This whole place is just scuffed beyond belief anyway. And if you're in this situation, it's probably cooked, dude. It probably is. You're probably done for. But just in case, you know, I don't know. You try it with stairs if you want to do stairs. You tell me what your results are, because I honestly cannot decide if I want stairs here or not. The idea here would be you put stairs here, so like a golem has to like walk up like this. The problem is if I'm on the attacking side, I can just spam like this, and then I can just step like this behind stairs, and I can't be touched, right? So that's why I kept like going back and forth on the staircase. It's like, yes, it makes it so the golem has to come up closer with, you can't range you as easily, but also it makes it so that they have something to hide behind when they're fighting you. Whereas this setup here, they have nothing to hide behind. There's nowhere for them to go. If you're running this raid defense, if you're running this setup here, you have to be extremely aggressive as an attacker. You have to be willing to come out here and just ego fight somebody and be like, nah, you're not gonna win this fight. Fight the most you can, and then but don't get too far away from your base so that you can veil back when you need to, go in your honeycomb and heal up. And let me show you how the defenses are set up here. So we have this right here. We have one honeycomb here, one honeycomb here. It's kind of nice. But here's the thing. This is the heart. So like I said, you have to win before you get breached. You have to stop them from breaching you, or else it is GG. But honestly, in my opinion, that's just how it's going to be regardless. And there is some interesting things for last line of defense. So look right over here. I cannot, as a golem, get through this. I actually don't even know if I can. I might be able to slam and hit that, but I'm actually not sure if I can, because everything's hitting right here as a golem. But regardless, check this out. Here is where I mentioned on this side, how you use staircases is kind of annoying, because so this is one of the frustrating things about stairs and raid defense and castle setups in V Rising in 1.1 right now. In 1.0, you could use door frames on situations like this to block this area off from attackers, and door frames had a bug that made them invincible for some reason. I don't know why, they just did. So you can use door frames to block things off, which is pretty scuffed and dumb. But now the problem is right here, you can see I can't get past this. I can't run past this. I can't run past this. This even looks like I can run past it, but I can't. Go over here. Looks very similar, right? Well, guess what? Because they are not consistent, I can clip into the wall and run past it. This is super frustrating because you don't know what plots do this unless you have a ton of experience and you have tried it yourself. Let me go ahead and delete this stuff really quick. Use this as an example here. Just an example, right? This is generally what ends up happening in a lot of these. Let me do this real quick. We'll just do this one. Okay, so imagine I had this. Let's say I wanted to put a staircase here to block this off. Well, look at this. I can just walk straight past this, right? This is not even an issue. I can just walk straight past it. Literally does not matter in any way, shape, or form. So it makes it super frustrating figuring out like where you can put those staircases. Like I said, this looks very similar to the one over here, and yet I can clip through the wall and get through this. So the way we had to set this up is like this. We have the servants right here. Remember, this is the heart right here. The idea here is they can attack those walls, or they can walk over here and attack this side to get to the heart. Well, if they're going to attack this side, they're attacking into servants. They cannot get away from my servants. The only other option, I believe they can attack this door right here as a golem. They can attack this right here, but the thing is, I mean, if you're a defender, you can just open this and they're getting aggroed immediately. And there's like nowhere for them to go. They have to run really quickly out this way to back away. And then either fight the servants in this super small area. If you're running something like alchemists, like this, running alchemist right here, the little bomber guy, then they will throw huge bombs and just destroy the golem in like 2 seconds. In terms of servants, I'm not going to go over this super long here, guys. I'm just going to show you the guys just very briefly. So these are the ones that I would recommend taking a look at. Generally what happens is a lot of people prefer to have 2 to 3 healers, which would be like clerics or priests. And then to have some of these guys. Here's some options for you. There's other options. But if you don't want to have to think about it, just do like 2 or 3 clerics and then 5 or 6 militia brawlers. These things are the goats of raid defense. These things are insane. They're so like easy to work with. You just open the door, they charge the enemy, destroy golems in like 1 shot. It's insane how fast it happens. The other guys, I have it on good authority that these new little spear thrower guys do stupid insane damage, like absolutely ridiculously insane damage with their AoE attacks. This guy right here is pretty interesting. He's super tanky in general, and he also has some abilities that can stun golems. This guy right here is similar to the militia brawler, but he doesn't charge as far. But he does have that shield that is super dangerous. You take so much damage whenever it reflects into you. And then lastly, light weavers. This is an option, but if the attacker is familiar with what's going on, they'll be running holy resist potions. And the more holy resistance they have, the less damage the holy attacks of the light weavers do. However, if you get them into like a little small tight honeycomb space and they do that triple beam attack, like right here, all three of them can hit someone. If they get unlucky, you like stun them into it with slashers. And they get stunned and that all three of those go down and they hit them, it will do like 300-400 damage to them. So anyway, okay, go back here and finish up right here. So if they're attacking this, I also have up here, I have this wall right here. This is where I put my banshees. This goes nowhere right here. You can bat form up here if you have to, right? You can bat form drop right here. And then if you needed to unlock those banshees, you would just open this, panic, and then run and open this door and bait down here and then go with your servants or whatever it is you need to do. Jump off the side of the wall here or the staircase here or whatever. So the idea is, you know, the golem's up here trying to breach up here. Well, he's breaching into banshees and there's nowhere for him to go. If he's breaching right here, he has to go through servants. He can't even get over to this side, and this is the door that you would use, or this ramp you would use to go up to your second floor. Last thing to note on this plot, and we're going to wrap this up. These flat ground plots, a lot of them have interesting and strange geometry like this along the side. People can bat form onto this. However, you can also be on up here. So like in theory, you could have somebody up here as a rat. And if somebody, you know, drops on here, you could just start spamming them down, right? And then if they don't jump off, then they just get exploded. If you have to jump off, you can just kind of leave like this, no big deal. And then whenever you want to, you can actually just come back like this, right? Oh, we're stuck on something very interesting. There we go. We're stuck on something there. So you can actually just do this. You can come back if you want to. But the other thing about this that's interesting is if I'm up here like this, I'm rat formed up here. If they don't know about this or they don't come up here and they come to attack on this side, I can actually just stand up here and spam this spot right there. I mean, that is brutal. I also tried to do this with claws. I don't think you can. I know you can't go up with claws anymore, but man, I wish you still could. For this spot here, you could just jump right here with claws. That'd be super cool. But you can't. But anyway, so that is gonna be it for now. This is a scuffed thing. I actually am super curious if someone try this. I want somebody to try this. Maybe I'll try it on my next run here on a flat ground plot and see if I can't get it to work. This just seems actually super interesting. Again, like I said, you have to be super aggressive. You have to know what you're doing. But all in all, it's a very interesting setup. But regardless, anyway, that's going to be it for now, guys. Hope you enjoyed this. Super in-depth here. If you have any questions, feel free to leave them in the comments below. But for now, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed it. And we'll catch you in the next one.